On March 25th, Aragi is on his way home from his school when he runs into Hanekawa, the honor student at his school. Their awkward encounter starts when a gust of wind lifts Hanekawa's skirt up in front of Aragi's eyes. Despite never conversing before, they surprisingly know a lot about each other. Aragi is quite surprised that someone like Hanekawa knows about him, an introvert who doesn't have any friends. When she asks why he doesn't have any friends, Aragi tells her that keeping friends will be a burden on him. If they got hurt or became sad, he will also be hurt and sad. And if they are happy, that would only make him jealous and envious. Hanekawa still pushes his thoughts away and takes his phone, adding her cell phone number and email to his contacts. She hands him his phone back saying that he has finally made a friend. Before she leaves, Hanekawa tells Aragi that there have been rumors going around of a loose vampire having beautiful golden hair and no shadow. She warns him not to go out late at night as he'll run into her. Later that night, Aragi still can't get over the fact of how amazing Hanekawa looked in her school uniform. Unable to control himself, he quickly runs to a bookstore to get a schoolgirl doujin. On his way back home, the electricity around the entire city suddenly goes out. A lamp near him flickers as he notices a trail of blood go into a subway station down below. Despite being scared, he decides to go and see where the trail leads to. Aragi starts to panic as he has been walking for quite a while now, but the trail hasn't ended. He goes further down until he reaches the last floor. There in front of him lies a beautiful woman with gold hair, with her hands sliced off. He runs to the woman and picks her up, telling her it's okay as he'll call an ambulance for her. He suddenly throws the woman away as her legs are missing as well, spewing blood everywhere. The woman turns to him and introduces herself as Kiss Shot Acerola Orion Heart Under Blade. She tells him that she is a vampire, and she will take his body as her flesh. She then orders him to come over to her and give her every last drop of his blood. Aragi tells her that he thought vampires were immortal, to which she replies him that she lost a lot of blood by having her limbs cut off. If she doesn't feed, she will die. The woman asks Aragi to help her out, but he starts to back away. Seeing that he is about to run away, the woman bursts into tears. She tries to crawl to him, blood sputtering out of her limbs, apologizing for scaring him and begging him to help her out. Aragi musters his strength and runs away. He sits down on a staircase at the subway after putting some distance between her. He can still view the vampire weeping in the hall below him. Once he catches his breath, Aragi is able to think with a clear mind. He curses himself and heads back to the vampire to save her life. The woman is confused seeing that he came back to her. Aragi, who is in tears now, tells her that he has done nothing good in his life. If he is to die today, so be it. He will try to be a better human in his next life. He looks at the woman and tells her to drink every last drop of his blood. The woman thanks Aragi and bites him on the neck. She starts to gulp down on his blood, making him slowly lose consciousness. Aragi wakes up in an empty classroom at an abandoned school. He looks to his side and sees a little girl with blonde hair sleeping on his arm. He jolts up, unable to comprehend his surroundings, and tries to wake the little girl up, but she refuses, saying that she will wake up in 4.6 billion years. Aragi quickly realizes who she is. He takes a look at his watch and notices that it has been 2 days, and slowly gets out of the room and makes a run for his life. Aragi goes to the top of the abandoned school building and notices a giant tree in its center, with its every inch covered with ravens. He starts walking around the rooftop for a bit and then looks at the sky as the clouds part away to reveal the sun. Aragi suddenly starts to feel hot. He looks at his hand before it, along with his entire body, erupts into flames. He starts to scream in pain and runs around, trying everything he can to put off the flames until he falls from the rooftop. He looks up and sees the sun still blaring in. Right at that moment, the young girl, who is also on fire, jumps down from the roof after him and pulls him into the shade. After things calm down, the little girl tells him that she is the same vampire that he saved the other day, and it has been 400 years since she made her last kin. Seeing his regenerative abilities tells her that his conversion was a success. She tells him that she only took enough blood to keep herself alive and then transformed into a body that can sustain it. When Aragi asks why she didn't just suck him dry, the girl tells him that she needed a slave to help her out, so she didn't kill him. She tells Aragi to call her Heart Under Blade, but he decides to call her Kiss Shot instead since it is easier to say. They start heading back to the classroom in which they woke up. On their way there, Kiss Shot explains to Aragi what she needs him to do. She tells him that she was attacked by 3 vampire hunters who took her limbs. Since she will not be able to regain her full powers until her limbs are returned, she wants him to go out and take it from them. Aragi puts only one condition on the line: after everything is done, Kiss Shot will turn him back into a human, which she agrees. Aragi asks why she couldn't just go after them herself, to which she replies that in her current state, she cannot do anything. Seeing that Aragi is worried about facing off against 3 vampire hunters who were powerful enough to take her down with her full power, she tells him not to worry. Kissshot explains to him that she was just overconfident when they attacked her, which was a bad move. Furthermore, if he's able to fight them one-on-one, he can easily overpower them as he is her kin. She tells him a location, saying that you will be able to find one of the hunters there. Later that night, Aragi goes to the designated location only to find him surrounded by all 3 of them. They all start to converse with each other in some odd language, making dread creep over Aragi. He shouts at them to let him explain since he is just a human like them, but they attack without a warning, tearing down buildings like a deck of cards as they head straight in for a killing blow. A strange man suddenly drops from a building above and saves Aragi's life. The hunters leave after seeing the man taking Aragi's side. Aragi takes the mysterious man back to Kiss Shop, where he introduces himself as Oshino. When she asks if he was able to get her limbs, Aragi gives her the bad news, saying that they are still working together, which makes things tough for them. Oshino tells them both that he is willing to help them out, but for a price, of course. When they inquire about his motives, Oshino tells them that he just likes to keep a balance between every side, and right now the balance feels off, so he has decided to help them out. He tells Aragi that you will offer his services to him for 2 million yen. When Kissshot asks if he can bear the amount, Aragi tells her that it is a small price to pay for his humanity. He tells Oshino that it will take him some time to get the money ready. Both Kissshot and Aragi ask Oshino how he's going to help them. He tells them that you will play the role of mediator. You will go to each of the hunters and make them agree to face Aragi one-on-one. If he is able to beat them in battle, they will hand over the limbs they possessed in. If he loses, they will take Kissshot. He tells them not to worry as he set up a field around the school while they were asleep to stop anyone from noticing that they are present there at the moment. Oshino tells Aragi that Heart Under Blade is quite a unique and famous vampire, as she can drain energy from oddities, and that they are in quite a pinch. Kissshot tells him that it is quite simple, as they only have to fight 3 hunters one-on-one. Oshino tells her that it might seem simple to an immortal vampire like her, but is quite difficult for humans like him and Aragi. He tells Kissshot that he likes the fact that she has agreed to turn Aragi back into a human, making her pout. Aragi still doesn't trust Oshino fully after all. He just met him last night. Kissshot takes him to the side and tells him not to worry, as this guy genuinely seems willing to help them out. She may still be weak, but even she can see that Oshino's skills are real. Both of them then agree to take Oshino on board and strike a deal with him. Aragi prepares for his first enemy, Dramaturgy. He looks at Fighting magazine that he recently bought, going over some kung fu moves and what Kissshot had told him. She tells Aragi that Dramaturgy is a vampire by birth, surprising him. She tells him to use his common sense, since he clearly is larger than other humans for his age and has a more muscular body. When Aragi asks why a vampire is hunting vampires, Kissshot tells him that it is just a profession for him. As Aragi waits for his enemy to arrive, he nervously flips through the magazine, memorizing the moves when he gets called out by a familiar voice. He looks to the side and is shocked to see Hanako standing there. When he asks what she is doing here so late at night, Hanako tells him that she is just out for a walk. She comes over and sits next to Aragi, trying to sneak a peek at his magazine, but Aragi quickly jolts up and starts to leave. Hanako stops him, telling him that they met after so many days and that they should chat a little bit. They start talking about random things for over an hour. Aragi realizes the time and tells Hanako to go back home. She tells him that he does not have to state the obvious and that she is hoping to run into a vampire tonight. When Aragi asks why she is looking for one, she tells him that she didn't think much about it and is just curious. Aragi realizes that if she stays here, she could get hurt in the upcoming fight. Her presence there will also be a distraction for him, and you will constantly have to look out for her. Not wanting to deal with her anymore, Aragi shouts at Hanako for indulging in things she doesn't understand, surprising her as they were having a good time just a moment ago. She asks him what's wrong and that this is no way to talk to a friend. Aragi tells her that she just forced this friendship on him and she sickens him. He also tells her not to mess with other people's phones and deletes her contact information in front of her. Seeing the abrupt change in his attitude, Hanako leaves. Aragi goes to the school ground below where Dramaturgy is waiting for him. They go over the details of the deal. Dramaturgy tells him that he will hand over Kissshot's right leg if he loses, but if wins, Aragi will tell them Kissshot's location. They both agree to terms and begin the fight. In an instant, Dramaturgy kicks Aragi's arm, tearing it from his body. Aragi falls to the ground, screaming in pain. He eventually gets up and makes a run for his life, heading straight into the school. Dramaturgy follows him in, saying that he's a coward and just wasting his time. Once Alrighty catches his breath, he notices a small hand poking out of his cut arm. He pulls it out while leading Dramaturgy to the roof. As soon as Dramaturgy gets to the roof, Alrighty jumps on him from behind, pinning him to the ground. Dramaturgy suddenly transforms his arms into blades and slices both of Alrighty's arms clean off, making him fall on his back. He then quickly turns around to kill Alrighty, who manages to push himself off the rooftop. Alrighty quickly runs over to a sports supply room, generating his arms along the way. He takes a big basket of baseballs and heads out. Dramaturgy, who is dropped to the ground below as well, makes his way toward Alrighty with incredible speed. Alrighty takes a couple of tries but manages to hit Dramaturgy in the face with a baseball. His speed made them feel like a steel ball. He keeps hitting Dramaturgy on the face until he yields, saying that it will take him 2 days to recover from this, unlike Alrighty, who can do so instantly and leaves. When Alrighty catches his breath, he looks to the side and sees Hanakoa standing there in shock. When he asks what she is doing there, Hanakoa tells him that she knew he was trying to get her away to protect her, but she came back. She thanks him for looking out for her and tells him that she wants to help him as well. Alrighty goes back to the abandoned school to meet up with Oshino and Kissha. He hands him a bat with the right leg. Oshino tells Alrighty that no matter what, the hunters will keep their ends of the deal. He throws the leg over at Kissha, who just stuffs it in her mouth, telling them to leave her alone until she finishes it off. Alrighty asks Oshino why his limbs dissolved while fighting and not Kissha's. Oshino tells him that's because the hunters wanted to gain powers by consuming it themselves. After a while, Alrighty goes to check on Kissha and is surprised to see that she's gotten older now. Later that night, Alrighty calls Hanakoa to school and tells her to bring him some new clothes since his old ones are completely torn apart now before he heads into his second battle against a hunter, Episode. Kissha had told him that Episode's motivation to kill vampires was because of his own blood. Episode is a half-vampire, so neither humans nor vampires indulge with him, which fuels his hatred for his vampire blood. Alrighty stands at the bottom of the stairs in an alleyway and looks up to see Episode waiting for him with a giant cross on his back. Episode laughs at the fact that someone like Dramaturgy lost to a wimp like him. Without wasting any time, they both lock into a battle. Episode turns into steam, vanishing from time to time, throwing Alrighty off his game. He throws his giant cross like a boomerang. Alrighty tries to dodge the cross, but it still manages to hit him. This goes on for quite a while. Episode is just playing with Alrighty, slowly breaking his bones. Alrighty is having trouble keeping up with him when suddenly Hanakoa appears beside him, telling him not to give up. Right at that moment, Episode throws his giant cross, slicing Hanakoa's stomach open. Alrighty runs to her side and tries to get Hanakoa's intestines back into her body, but she slaps him on the face, telling him to focus. Alrighty turns and sees Episode grinning at him. He attacks him again, but Alrighty starts to run, making Episode follow him to a football stadium. Alrighty lands on the ground with massive force, throwing dirt everywhere. Since steam catches dirt, Alrighty is finally able to see Episode's location. He jumps on top of him and starts to crush his throat. Just when he is about to kill him, Oshino appears and stops Alrighty, telling him to hold on to this humanity. He looks down and sees that Episode has already passed out. Alrighty asks Oshino what he has to do to save Hanakoa. Oshino tells him that it will cost him 3 million yen to achieve agrees to pay up. He tells him that his blood has healing properties and he can use them to save her life. Alrighty quickly runs back to her and stabs his chest with his own hand. Hanakoa wakes up and thanks him for saving her life. The next day, as Kissha feeds on her other leg, Hanakoa meets Alrighty outside the school. She asks if he is hungry and offers him some sandwiches, but Alrighty refuses, saying that he hasn't felt hungry in almost 2 weeks now. He tells Hanakoa that her life will be in danger the more she stays here and promises to meet her again at school when spring break ends. She tells him that if this is what he wants, she will do it. Alrighty returns to Kissha, who is by now almost fully grown. He asks if she will be able to fight the last hunter on her own, but she tells him that she is still too weak as the last hunter, Guillotine Cutter, has taken both her arms. Alrighty asks more about him and she tells him that unlike the other two, Guillotine is a human, is nothing more than a priest who exorcises vampires. The fact that he can go up against vampires despite only being human shows how powerful he is. As Alrighty gets ready, Oshino suddenly appears out of breath, telling him that he messed up and Guillotine has got Hanakoa. Alrighty takes off with incredible speed, breaking the sound barrier as he heads for the stadium where Guillotine is. He stops as soon as he gets there and sees that Guillotine is holding Hanakoa hostage. When Alrighty demands to let her go since she has nothing to do with what's happening, Guillotine laughs, saying that she holds weight. He tells Araragi that as soon as the battle begins, he will raise his hands and yield if he wants to save her life. Hanako tries to tell Araragi not to do it, but guillotine slowly starts to crush her throat. At that moment, just like Oshino had told him before facing guillotine, Araragi lets go of his humanity. Massive roots erupt from Araragi's arms, tearing the ground apart and forming a giant tree. At its center is guillotine, tied up on a cross made of roots. It's April 6. 12 days have passed since the fateful night when Araragi came across Kissshot in a subway tunnel. Araragi stares outside the window and recalls the fact that he has successfully defeated all 3 vampires. Oshino, who is sitting behind him, shows him a bag that has Kissshot's arms. He tells Araragi that it wasn't easy getting the arms from guillotine, as unlike the other 2, he considers hunting vampires his destiny. Araragi is still confused and asked Oshino how the 3 of them were so easily beaten by someone like him who has no experience fighting and has been a vampire for less than a week. Compared to them, they have been hunting vampires for ages and are quite more experienced than him. What makes even less sense is that if Kissshot really is that powerful, how was she not able to stand up to them despite being overconfident? Oshino sighs and tells Araragi he was going to wait for him to catch on himself, but since he asked, he's going to tell them now anyways. He tells Araragi that the limbs weren't the only things that were stolen from Kissshot that night. There was also a 4th member present there who had taken something before the fight began. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a live, thumping heart. Oshino tosses the heart over to Araragi, telling him that he is the one who stole the famous vampire Heart Underblade's heart. Without it, she was quite weak when she fought against the 3 of them. Araragi is shocked at this revelation and asks if he is going to fight him as well. Oshino tells him that at first he was going to, but now he does not. He gives him the choice of handing the heart to Kissshot and gets ready to leave. He asks Araragi if he has something to eat, to which Araragi tells him that he hasn't eaten for days as didn't feel hungry after becoming a vampire. Oshino tells him that he will start to feel hungry soon as it has been 2 weeks. Before he leaves, Oshino tells Araragi that the money he owes him is forgiven and that it's not an act of kindness, rather he just wants to, since the only thing he really wanted was the balance between both sides. Araragi goes to Kissshot and hands her everything and she gladly consumes everything, regaining her entire power. After she's had some time alone with her fully regained body, Araragi asks if she will turn him back into a human now. She tells him not to worry as she will keep her end of the deal, but asks him to spend the night with him on the rooftop. Araragi agrees to entertain her request. He spends the entire night with her, talking about her past. She tells him that the person she changed into a vampire before him was a master swordsman 400 years ago. The only thing he and Araragi share in common is that they both are Japanese. Kissshot tells him that he wanted to be a human just like him, but she wasn't able to do it. In the end, he ended his life, unable to live with himself any longer. Kissshot pierces her stomach with her hand and takes out a massive sword. She tells Araragi that this is the only memento she has left of him after he died, a powerful demonic sword capable of exorcising heathens. She swings the sword with incredible speed at Araragi, who doesn't feel anything as it passes right through him, not damaging anything. Kissshot laughs, saying that her skills have not rusted over these centuries. The cut was so clean that even Araragi's clothes were not damaged, and his healing quickly repaired his body before it fell off. After laughing and talking for hours, Kissshot tells Araragi that she will now turn him back into a human. He tells her to wait as all this laughing has made him hungry and quickly runs to the grocery store to get some food. When he gets back, Araragi is in shock. Right in front of him is Kissshot, devouring human like an animal. He looks at the man closely and realizes that is guillotine. Sensing his presence, Kissshot turns around and asks where he has been and apologizes for starting without him. Araragi finally manages to speak and tells her that it is not okay for her to eat human. She looks back at him confused, blood all over her face, and says that she will starve to death otherwise. Araragi runs to the abandoned gym as he knew something like this would eventually happen, but was choosing to live in denial. He falls to his knees and starts to cry because someone died because of him. He realizes that Kissshot is a threat to humans and will eventually hurt people close to him. Araragi tries to fight back his hunger and takes out his phone and notices that Hanako had put her contact back in. He quickly calls her over. Hanako rushes over to Araragi and comforts him, saying that everything will be fine. She tells him that if he is feeling weak, he can eat her instead, that Araragi stops her from speaking any further, saying that he could never hurt a friend. Hanako tells Araragi that if he is worried about Kissshot being a threat, why doesn't he just go and fight her himself? As her only kin, he should be powerful enough at this point to stop her on his own. Araragi agrees to her advice and decides to fight her. Both Araragi and Hanako go to the stadium where she's waiting for them. Arari goes down to the ground to face Kissshot. When he arrives, Kissshot apologizes to him for being inconsiderate and tells him that she should have realized that he just recently became a vampire and would have been uncomfortable at the sight of being a human. She tells him that he is the most unusual person that she has ever met since he helped out a vampire. For that, she is able to live with him and asks Arari to join her fraternity. Arari, however, refuses, saying that he wanted to help her out, but someone died because of his actions, and he still wants to be a human. Kissshot laughs, saying that she knew from the beginning that he was a hypocrite, and that he was only going to come after her once she was at full power. Kissshot raises her hand and tells him to come and kill her if he wants to regain his humanity. The fight begins and they both start ripping each other's limbs off, punching away at each other's heads, but they keep regenerating. All the time, Kissshot just laughs hysterically, telling him to do it more. She tells Arari she used to be human as well, but after she had her first human, it became normal for her. Arari pushes her words away and continues to fight. Kissshot looks to the stands and sees Hanakoa witnessing everything, but soon gets back into the fight. Hanakoa suddenly realizes something and runs to the ground to stop Arari from killing her. Kissshot blows the ground in front of her, but Arari blocks the blow with his body. His body bursts apart from the force, but he manages to latch onto her neck and suck her blood, regaining his body. When half of her blood has been drained, Arari stops. Kissshot at this point is unable to move. Hanakoa tells them that Kissshot wanted Arari to kill her all along, and this was all just a ruse to get him riled up. Kissshot asks Arari, what does it matter to him if a vampire lives or dies? In the end, he will regain his humanity. Arari gets up and shouts to Oshino, telling him that he knows that he is here listening. He tells him to come out and face him. Oshino, who is already in the stands, tells Arari to calm down. Once he joins them, Arari asks Oshino for a way from which they can all get out alive without anyone getting hurt. Oshino laughs, saying that there is no such solution. However, there is one way. He tells Arari that he will suck Kissshot's blood, bringing her near death. In this state, she will be weak and Arari can form a new contract with her. In this way, she will be so weak that she will be like a mere human. However, Arari will have to give up his humanity. He will remain a vampire, but a weak one at that, which will bring him as close to being a human as possible. Without any hesitation, Arari makes his way to Kissshot to drink her blood. She tells him to either stay away from her or kill her instead. She begs Arari to kill her as that is what she really wants. She is tired of this long, painful life. Arari apologizes, saying that he is not going to help her this time. The next day, on 8th April, Arari heads home from school when he runs into Hanakoa. She asks how he is holding up and he tells her not to worry as he is fine. His gums bleed during the morning, but that is all. Hanakoa looks at his neck and notices the bite marks over there. She tells him that those scars don't fade away. Arari tells her that it doesn't really matter and takes his leave and heads off to the abandoned school where Oshino and little Kissshot are waiting for him. He apologizes for being late and loosens his shirt, allowing Kissshot to stand on a chair and bite his neck to drink some blood. After giving Kissshot her meal, Oshino tells Arari that he is impressed that he is now keeping the vampire as a pet. He not only took her fangs, cut her nails, and castrated her, he is now keeping her as a pet just like she was intending to do to him. If Arari dies, so will Kissshot. Before he leaves, Oshino tells Arari to call him if he gets fed up. Arari tells him that you will never get fed up from this as he has to do it. The end.